Recording in progress.
Cool. So today we are going to learn a very important topic of our uh, complete part, which is called unsupervised machine learning. And let's me discuss about the unsupervised machine learning, and so that I can talk about a bit more in detail. First of all, so far, whatever things we have discussed, that is called supervised machine learning. So today we are going to learn unsupervised machine learning. Before getting start the unsupervised machine learning, let me talk about the supervised machine learning. Sorry. Okay. Let me talk about the supervised machine learning. So in case of supervised machine learning, as far we know, supervised machine learning is what? Supervised machine learning, the label has been already given. For example, let's suppose if I'm going to give you a bucket, if I'm going to give you a basket of fruit or bucket of fruit, so how you are going to identify that what are the different fruits are there, right? So we as a machine, we as a human being already know a different physical appearance of different kind of fruits, right? So let me give you one example. So yeah, so if I'm going to take this example, so this is the bucket of or basket of fruit, and in this basket there is a different type of fruits are there, like banana is there, apple is there, grapes is there, different kind of fruits are there, right? So with the physical appearance we can easily able to understand what type of fruit it is, because our mind, as a mind, human being, we already is habitual with this kind of fruit, and we have seen this kind of fruit from the long time, so mind is already learned with this fruit. So now onwards, if someone will give you the bucket of fruits, you can easily recognize this what type of fruit it is. So far so far we have already discussed what are the problem we have solved. In this problem, whatever problem like diabetes prediction, or or breast cancer, whatever things problem we have solved, titanic problem, in all the problem output were given already, right? In all the problem statement, output used to give already, so that, so output in inside of target column, we have a output and we have a different kind of inputs. So many inputs and one outputs is already given, so that we were able to train our machine in such a way so that machine can easily able to understand what is the input. If this input is there, then what output I can predict. If this input is there, what output I can understand. So likewise, machine can easily understand these things, right? So So, so supervised machine learning, as a name indicate, has presence of supervisor as a teacher. And basically supervised learning is when we teach or train the machine using the data is well labeled. Labeled in the nothing but like output. Output has been already given, which means same data is already tagged with the correct answer. After that, the machine is provide the new set of example or data, so that the supervised learning or analyze the training data and produce the output. This is called supervised machine learning. And the example already given, this is called supervised machine learning. This problem, supervised machine learning. Okay. So what are the things we have discussed this in this? This is called supervised machine learning. So if the shape of the object is rounded and has the dispersion at the top, uh, and red in color, then we can label it as a apple. Similarly, if I'm going to identify the banana, if the shape of the object is long, curving, cylindrical, having green, yellowish, and this kind of object if we are seeing, then we can mark it as a banana. So we can easily understand what is supervised machine learning. And in case of supervised, what type of problem we have solved? In case of supervised, we have solved number one. What type of problem we have solved? Number one, classification and regression. Under the classification, linear regression and these things is coming. That's fine. So this is the major problem we have solved: classification and regression. Very popular interview question, like what type of problem we are solving in case of supervised machine learning. So you have to them understand we have solved classification and regression problem. Okay, so classification is what? The classification problem when the target column, or you can say output column, is categorical in nature, then we can go with as a classification problem. Similarly, if I'm going to say the regression problem, then when the output or target column is continuous in nature, then we can say this is the regression problem. Understood, right? So now understand what are the different type of algorithm we have learned to solve this kind of problem. So, so number one, yes. So number one, we have solved with the linear regression. Yes, linear regression. And number two, logistic regression. This is for categorical. Yes, binary class classification problem we can solve. And now, if I'm putting this much of effort, why, though we are solving the classification problem, why it is called as a regression? Any idea? I have given this answer. Yeah, but nahi, no. Though it is a classification solving, but it is taking the help of probability, right? And probability is continuous in nature, right? So that's what it is called logistic regression. Okay, it on the probability it apply the logic. That's what's called the logistic regression. Then we have seen KNN, decision tree, D tree. Fifth number, what are the things we have discussed? So fifth, decision tree, and then we have discussed, I think, support vector machine. I think I have not discussed. That will come under the model 5. Okay, PCA and SVM, support vector machine, will be considering under module 5. So far we are inside of module 4. So module 1, 2, 3 has been done. This is the module 4 called clustering algorithm, and then module 5 is called support vector machine, and then PCM will come under this picture. So this is the different module of the machine learning. So we'll discuss all those things. Okay, so these are decision tree, logistic regression. I think, yes, one thing we forgot, ensemble machine learning techniques. Ensemble machine learning. Okay, so under the ensemble, we have seen random forest, we have seen, right, boosting, stacking, right, bagging. These are the different things we have discussed inside of ensemble machine learning. So what are the things we have discussed? So bagging, boosting, bootstrapping is the part of bagging only. Okay, so under the bagging, with bootstrapping and without bootstrapping, and with bootstrapping, that is called bagging, and if the without bootstrapping, that is called pasting. Yes, very good. So likewise, you have to revise, then only you can see. In interview, the first round will be DSA, data structure and algorithm, and with including the DSA, if you are going to target some startup, DSA will not come into the picture. If you are going to target the MNC like Amazon, Flipkart, and this kind of thing, then you have to focus on DSA as well as these things. First round. Second round, core machine learning will ask. And third round, problem statement, problem solving techniques. And fourth round will be HRF. That's all. That's all. This is the way of standard interview procedure. But if you're targeting startup, some product-based company, in startup also product-based companies are there. So if you're targeting those companies, DSA will be quite easy in that case, but they will come directly in this position, some basic first round, second round will go to the some coding round, and then third round directly HR round. That's all. And boosting and stacking. Okay, so these are the things we have discussed inside of supervised machine learning. Now, what is the advantage of supervised machine learning? So advantage, that is the feature. Target has already given, that is the feature. Now, let me talk about the advantage. Advantages, okay, number one. So let's talk about, so first advantage, supervised machine learning allow collecting data and produce the data output from the previous experiences. So we have already have some labeled data, and then we are going to generalize the model so that new instance will come, then it will easily understand. So what I can write, supervised machine learning allow collecting. Don't worry, all the PPT, all the present, this whiteboard notes will be given. So you don't need to worry. Data and produces data output from previous experience. Yes. Okay. Number two, what is the advantage? Help to optimize the performance criteria with the help of experience. Means you have a prior experience, right? And now if some challenge will come in your future time, then with you can take a help with your prior experience and you can tackle those problems, right? So it is the advantage of supervised learning. So help to optimize. That's what company is asking, 5 year, 10 year of experience guys, so that they can understand, okay, 10-year experience guy means they can easily understand, they can easily tackle some problem. If you are going to take means if you are going to enroll some fresher, then they might not have any kind of prior experience, how they can solve some challenging problem, right? So help to optimize performance criteria with the help of experience. ठीक है. Number three. Okay. It perform classification and regression tasks. This is already we know. It perform performs classification and regression task. Okay. Number four. It allow estimating or mapping the result in the new sample. It allows estimating or mapping the result to a new sample. Okay. So far we have not learned any new thing. These are the things we learned already when we were discussing about the supervised machine learning. Now if we are talking about the advantage, then there must be disadvantage. That's what we are going to learn unsupervised machine learning, right? So let's talk about some disadvantage as well. Okay, let's talk about the disadvantage as well. So what are the disadvantages are there? Number one, classifying the big data. Means if your data is small, like 1,000, 10,000, then it's fine. But talk about the big data, like millions of data points are coming, like Flipkart, Amazon, right? Facebook. There is the ton data are coming. If you want to learn those kind of data, then it's quite challenging here. So classifying big data can be challenging task. Challenging task. Okay. Number two, it required label data. Sorry. So let's suppose you have a millions of data, right? So right now your machine capabilities is means your supervised machine learning capability to learn only 1000 10,000 data points. If you are going to give your child like millions of data to learn, then it might forget the previous one, right? So it not able to gather means take forward the all the learning whatever things has been learned in the previous section. So in that, this is the limitation of supervised machine learning, and this limitation will be there inside of unsupervised machine learning as well. That's what deep learning concept is came into the picture. Okay, so this limitation is quite similar in supervised as well as unsupervised. That's what classical machine learning is very relevant for, to solve the very small use case. If your use case is a bigger, then in that case this is called classical machine learning, right? So classical machine learning is not means suggestible approach, right? So it required number one, it required labeled data. Okay. And okay. So number three, training for supervised machine learning. Supervised machine learning needs lots of computation time. Actually, this will be applicable for all the process, but it's a disadvantage. Lots of computation time. If you will train the deep learning model, it will take more than this time. So lots of computation time. Computing time. Okay. So these are the disadvantages. Now let's talk about unsupervised machine learning. Okay. So let's talk about unsupervised machine learning. Oh, sorry. Um, yes. Unsupervised machine. Yeah. Deep learning will come into the picture. So unsupervised machine learning. Now let's talk about the unsupervised machine learning. Okay. Any problems? Well, I am not focusing more about the supervised because we already learned from the long time supervised machine learning. Now I'm going to focus on the unsupervised machine learning. So unsupervised learning is what? Let's suppose I have given an image having both dog and cats, okay, which it never seen. Means you means let's suppose you are a child and you never seen the dog and cat so far so forth, and I have given an image of which containing the dog and cat. Many dogs, many cats are there. Now you have to identify which one is dog, which one is cat. Now just try to understand. Similarly, if I'm going to give the different kind of object, right, and to a child, or let's suppose I'm going to give a different kind of object to a child, and I will tell to child to classify this kind of all the object and segregate these objects. So how that child will classify those objects? So they can classify with the shape. If all the shape of similar shape of object, he or she will keep at the different place. Or you can say he or she can classify based on the color. He or she can classify based on the property. Like if it is a liquid property, then it will classify there is a multiple way to classify, right? What I can say. So so unsupervised machine learning is the training of a machine using the information that neither classified or nor labeled, means unseen data, completely unseen data. And you have to let's suppose if I'm going to take an example of so let's take an example. I used to get many messages, okay, over the different social sites. Now I have to classify this message is coming from my office work, or this message is coming from my personal message, like my from my home, or from my personal message, very personal message, or this message is coming from my student side. So there is a three category. So let's suppose if, and I never seen the message, what message I used to get from my family. I never seen this kind of thing. Now I have to classify. So let's suppose if my family members are texting me, then their way of texting might be different, or maybe they are using the different tone to text. Like they might be used the English or Hindi, or some different language, some local language they can use. But if my office messages are coming, then this sound very officially first thing, and it can be more English and professional language. So that kind of way it will be. Or if let's suppose, if messages are coming from my students, then it could be possible they might ask some questions, right? So behalf of that, my machine will categorize these things. And the thing is that in training process, we have never trained our model, we have never trained our model with this kind of output. This message, then this is coming from the family. If this Y message, then this is coming from the student side. If Z message, then this is coming from the office side, right? So this is called unsupervised machine learning. Unsupervised learning is what? Unsupervised learning is the training of a machine using the information that neither classified nor labeled. So let me write that definition. Unsupervised learning is a training of machine using information mission that is neither classified, nor labeled, not labeled, and allowing the algorithm to act on that, information without okay without guidance. Okay, this is called unsupervised machine learning. So so example, for an example, if you want, let me take one example. So this is the example. Let's suppose I have given a picture of dog and cat, and you never seen this dog and cat so far, so forth. So with the help of physical appearance, you can categorize these animals, right? You can categorize, okay, this and this seems like a one object, and these and this is a completely different object. So these two again will become one object, and this I don't know, never seen like a dog or cat, but we can categorize as a third category. Okay, so likewise we can do these things. So hope you understood the unsupervised machine learning, right? Now let's talk about unsupervised learning classified into two category. What are the different category of unsupervised machine learning? uh, Unsupervised learning is classified into two category. Okay, number one, clustering, which we are going to learn in some time. Clustering. Number two, association. Okay, association. So let's talk about clustering. What is clustering? uh if I'll talk about the clustering, okay, so I not able to, okay, sorry. So let's talk about the clustering. Clustering, a clustering problem is where you want to discover you want to discover the inherent let me do one thing. There is eraser. Okay, association I will keep at the different place. So this is fine. Inherent grouping grouping in the data. Okay, such a grouping customer, such a grouping customer. Okay, leave that string. And now second top part is called association. What do you mean by the association? So an association, sorry, an association problem or rule learning learning problem is where you want to discover you want to discover rules that describe large position of your data large portion of your data large portion of your data. Okay, so an association rule learning problem is where you want to describe rule that describe large portion of data. So here we are not doing the clustering. Here we are just applying some which which will which will describe your problem. Okay, so that is called association. So what are the type of way, like in case of supervised we have seen linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, this kind of things, right? So here also different clustering types is there. Number one, clustering type, okay, number one is hierarchical clustering. Hierarchical clustering. Number two, k-means clustering. It's nearly about like a KNN. So this is called k-means clustering. Number three, principal component analysis. This is also a type of clustering, but it's a type of clustering, but we can use these things as a pre-processing as well. So we'll talk about these things. So principal component analysis, and I think this much is enough. So these are the different type of clustering. Now, if I will talk about advantage of supervised machine learning is what? So let's talk about advantage of unsupervised learning. Advantage of unsupervised machine learning. So number one, it does not require the training data. Number two, dimensionality. Dimensionality reduction can be easily accomplished using unsupervised machine learning. Unsupervised learning. USL means unsupervised learning. Okay. So uh third is flexibility. Flexibility. So flexibility, unsupervised learning is flexible in that it can be applied to a wide variety of problem. Means, let's suppose you are solving the supervised problem, right? So in supervised problem itself, you can apply the first unsupervised, then apply the supervised machine learning. How? Let's see the one problem statement. Let's suppose you have to segment your customer. So already the segmentation has been given, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 people are there. Tier 1 is like those people who are staying in urban state, like Bangalore, Kolkata, Delhi, this kind of state. That is called tier 1. Tier 2 is those people which is moderate, not that much of educated, but it is okay. Tier 3 is what those people who are staying like near to village and not that much of educated, that is called tier 3. So now, so if you have to identify who can do your who can use your application very frequently, right? So let's suppose you are working in e-commerce website like Flipkart, Amazon, this kind of website. Okay. So if you are going to use this kind of application, if you want your customer to use this kind of application, what is the chances that which kind of people will use your application? Obviously tier 1 people will use, tier 2 also will use somehow, but tier 3 will not able to use. So first thing is that you have to identify the tires, and then you can invest your time on the people, right? So tier 1, tier 2 identification is can be done by the unsupervised machine learning, because it's a kind of clustering, right? So from which tier this person is coming. If as soon as your your customer is visiting to your website, first of all you have to identify this person is coming from which tier. Like, is it tier 1 person, tier 2 person? Let me show you one example. So let's suppose you are using Flipkart. Hmm? Let's suppose this is your Flipkart application. Okay, this is your Flipkart application. If someone is trying to use your application, someone is trying to buy some product from the Flipkart, what I will do? What is the first of all, I will check what is the chances that this customer can easily be convertible, right? Means he or she can buy the product from the Flipkart. What is the chances? So chances, how I used to predict, like first of all I will check with this person is belonging from which tier. There is a multiple criteria, but I'm just trying to say, first of all, I will check this person is belonging. As soon as it will visit, then I will check this person is belonging from which tier. How I can check? So as soon as you are hitting to our application, then we used to get the IP address, your IP address. And with this IP address, we can easily understand from which location using the geocode API. Google ka geocode API we have. So with that geocode API, we are able to understand this person is coming from which state, or sorry, which place, right? So then if that place already Google launched the different places in India, which is falling under tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So that place we are going to categorize whether this person is coming from the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Now I will check this person is educated or not. How I can check this person is educated or not? So whatever search box is there right inside of Flipkart, please correlate this problem. It's a very genuine problem which I am solving right now. So how I am solving this problem? So there is a search box right inside of Flipkart application. So this person will type something, whatever he or she want to search, the product. Now he will search. Let's suppose if I have to search some pen or washing machine, or what I can say, some geyser, right? So what he will do, he will type there. So I will check what he is typing. Is it correct spelling he's typing, or some local language? Like let's suppose in pan is there, right? It's like essential, like kitchen essentials there. So pan, many people used to call is a kadhai, like in north side, if you'll go to local language, that. So whether this person is using the local language to search something, or whether this person is typing some spelling mistake, and spelling mistake is also not that very minor spelling mistake. If it is a completely different, like okay, known, let's suppose if I am saying known. So if this person is typing known like this, then, and if it is educated, then he will type the known like this, right? And if this person is typing known like this, then I can say yes, this person is not that much of educated as well. And if this person is belonging to the tier 1 or tier 2, tier 3, now if it is tier 3 and not that much of educated as well, then might be he will not use our application. Means he will select, he will see the product, and he will not buy, because tier 3 person having some fear with the online transaction. Are you agree with or not? Yes, tier 3 person having this fear that whatever, if I will share my ATM card detail or CVV number, because we have made these vibes to all the people, and tier 3 people has been understand that this is completely fraud, and our money will gone. So tier 3 person is very afraid towards doing the transaction over the digital platform, rather to tier 1 and tier 2, right? So this understanding is there. So I won't invest much time on these people, tier 3 and not educated. I will simply show the product. If the transact if he is not able to do the transaction, I will not focus on this person. But if the person is tier 1 and he is well educated, that things, see, right now I have shown two attributes. It can be many things. So what problem I am solving? There is a multiple features are there. If you will see in the Flipkart, if you are using the mobile app, your complete mobile information is also we have. Like as soon as you are doing some transaction and using the Flipkart, you are giving the authorization to access your phone. Your complete data we have, right? So we can see what kind of application, also more application you are using in your phone. Are you using the Amazon as well? Are you using some Myntra? Are you using Nika? This kind of digital platform also you are using. If you are using, then means I can say you are well educated and you can compare the price, right? So means education criteria can be checked easily with the different feature. That's a completely different story. But I'm just trying to solve one. I'm trying to say how the unsupervised machine learning is coming into the picture in case of supervised problem, right? So so first of all, we are identifying whether this person will do the transaction or not. What is the chances, what is the confidence is that this person will do the transaction on our platform? These are the different criteria. Behalf of that, we are going to check. Now if he is able to do the transaction, if I'm a confidence, see, first layer is my coming on over the Flipkart. So first of all, I will check what is the confidence score, whether this person, any new person is coming to our application, our portal, what is the confidence that this person will buy something on our platform. That's the first criteria. If the confidence is very high, and if I'm able to say this person will do the transaction on our platform, then our support team also will help this person to do the transaction. Let's suppose somehow your transaction got failed, like bank detail or something, you got made a mistake and you did a fail. Directly support team will call you or send a text. Hey, I have seen that you shown an interest on this product. Would you like to buy now? Still it is under waiting under the card, and you can do the transaction. This kind of message or this kind of call support team will start doing to you. Have you ever faced this kind of thing? Right, we are doing these things, right? So we are doing at the back end, we are doing these things as a product team, as a development team, AI researchers team. First of all, we are checking the confidence of your buying confidence. And second thing is that what kind of application you're using in your phone. Again, I'm saying we have a complete access of your phone data. Not phone data means like your contact detail and your photo. These kind of things is we don't have, and those are the things is coming under the encryption version. We can't decrypt that part, but still, if something if you really wanted to do, then we can, but it's completely encrypted. But we can know like what are the different applications you are using in your phone. Those information we can easily check by seeing, by as soon as you are doing the transaction with the phone. That's what I never use phone application in my phone. I always preferred go or the website, and website se use karo. That's always the recommendable, but don't use the phone application anyway. Like especially in case of Android, this problem is in Android. Android is the open source, right? So you have to give the permission. Without giving the permission, you can't do these things. So that's the thing. So yeah, so we are able to understand what is the chances, then we can do these things. Okay, what kind of product you can buy, this is the classification things again is coming into the picture, and then we can apply the effort on top of it. Yeah. Understood. So how the problem is getting solved, like both the thing we combine, unsupervised and supervised, and then we are going to do the solve the some very niche problem. Yeah. Now this is one thing is flexibility. Number four is coming like exploration. Number five thing is coming like low cost. As why it is low cost? See, cost in something by like if you are going to solve the supervised problem, you need a complete label data. But in this case, you don't need a label data, right? So you can collect any kind of data and you can start doing the exploration. That is called unsupervised. That's what is called low cost, right? Okay. Now let's talk about the disadvantage as well. Number one, see, in case of supervised, you can evaluate the performance of your machine learning with the different kind of metric, right? Like if you are solving the linear regression, then there are r squared, adjacent r squared, this kind of metrics we have, right? But if you are solving unsupervised machine learning, so there is a no ground truth. Let's suppose ground truth in the sense of, let's suppose you have a different data and you can easily cluster based on the color, right? Now let's suppose if your model is able to cluster, if your model is able to make a different cluster with the white and red color, but what is the ground truth to say, like what is the confidence of your model, how you can check the accuracy of the model, right? So this is very difficult in case of unsupervised machine learning. So number one disadvantage is difficult to measure or measure the accuracy of the model. Okay. Number two, The result often have lesser accuracy. In case of super unsupervised, you can't expect your accuracy will be very high. Okay. The result often have lesser accuracy. Okay. Hmm. Huh. So yeah. So yeah, these are the two disadvantage in the, I could say, inside of unsupervised machine learning. Now we'll see all the different type of machine learning like hierarchical clustering, K-means clustering, PCA one by one, and the practically. Any question in case of supervised and unsupervised machine learning? Any type of question which I could help? No.
You told unsupervised machine learning also we have some disadvantage related to data.
Yes, it is.
It's not mentioned here.
I have not mentioned, but yeah, big data can't be handled by the classical machine learning, you can say. So big data can't be trained by unsupervised machine learning. USL. Okay. So it will be there always. Yeah. So any question now? Yeah. If it is not there, then let's begin with clustering techniques. That's the first thing. So let's have a 5 minute of break. So 5 minute, within a 5 minute, we'll join. We open the timer. Let's have a 10 minutes break. Okay. I'm joining in 10 minutes. Okay. So let's begin the class. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Cool. So let me open my Jupyter notebook. Just a minute. Authorization. And the space is there. It cancels. Okay, cool. So fine. Let's begin with your folder. Yours is June. Day 29. Okay, cool. So now what we are going to do, let me give is clustering. Clustering. Okay. So what are the things we are going to look clustering? What is clustering? So clustering. So it's very simple. Clustering is nothing but it's a type of unsupervised machine learning which find the structure or pattern in a collection of the unlabeled data and cluster the collection object which have the similar and amongst themselves and dissimilar to the another things. So if I'm going to write the definition of clustering, so clustering is an unsupervised approach which finds a structure or you can say pattern in a collection of unlabeled data. Unlabeled data. A cluster is a collection of object which are similar amongst themselves. and are dissimilar dissimilar to the objects belonging to a different cluster. Okay, so this is called unsupervised, sorry, clustering techniques. And the goal of cluster is what? The goal of cluster is quite similar. The goal of cluster is to determine the intrinsic group intrinsic group in data unlabeled data. Now just try to understand, if you are, let's suppose, if how you can say your cluster is very good or bad. So let's suppose you have created a cluster, two clusters, and if I wanted to say or examify whether this cluster is good or bad, how I can say? I can say very easily, like if it is good cluster, the good cluster identification is the difference between these two clusters should be very high. Means the property, let's suppose if I have to categorize the male female, so the difference between these two category of classes quite different, then I can say this is the cluster is very good cluster. But if you are going to create a cluster with the object which is quite similar between the clusters, similarities between the cluster, then I cannot say this, I can say this cluster making techniques is not good. So this is called the goal of the cluster should be like the difference between the object characteristics should be high. And what are different application we can use the clustering techniques? Applications where we can use clustering techniques. Number one, very popular for customer segmentation. For customer segmentation. Okay, so you can cluster your customer customers based on their purchase. Many companies are doing right away these things. It's a very popular problem. You will also solve this problem, like based on the purchase. Let's suppose if someone is coming to the shopping mall just to do the window shopping, then that is the one cluster. If someone is coming to buy some small thing, someone is coming a very big thing, someone is, whenever they are coming, always used to buy 1 lakh items, right? So these are the different cluster we can make with their and their activity on your website. So these are the things we are doing always. So THA there. Their activity on your website and so on. Okay, this is useful to understand who your customer right, and what they need so you can adapt your products. Today is what, 15 or 14? 14. Okay, products and marketing campaign. campaigns to each segments. Okay, so let's suppose you understood who is your customer. You can easily run your campaign. Let's suppose you are running your campaign, you are investing your money on a cluster which is not your target group, which where the customer will not come to your application. Then it's complete campaign or complete money whatever you are going to liquefied on the product on the customer, which is called CAC. Have you heard about the CAC, customer acquisition cost? That is called CAC. Mm, I'll take a one use case. My one of my friend is working there, like Blinkit. Okay, so Blinkit CAC, you know how much CAC is there? Like per customer, to bring one customer on their platform, how much money they are going to spend? Any idea? It's 2,000 rupees just to bring a customer on their application, right? So that's what the company revenue is zero, not zero. In fact, it's a negative. Blinkit is not profitable company. I think in India, like 90% company is not revenue making company, product based company. I'm talking about. Blinkit is zero negative revenue company. For Zomato, now they launch their IPO, then it's fine. That's they are saying they are gaining the revenue, but I'm not believing that they are gaining the revenue, because in India, only bigger problem is what you know. Whoever are committing like they can deliver the item within a 10 minute, here they are making the mistake, blunder mistake they are doing, right? Flipkart and Amazon, this guy understood how we can make a profit in India. That's what they launched their e-cart. So whenever the orders are coming from the Flipkart, they launch their own logistic partner like called e-cart. So in India, the bigger cost is going on the logistic operational cost. These things is not able to understand by the Zomato and Blinkit. I don't know. And Swiggy, I think they started doing these things. They also launched their own logistic. Now with the help of the Swiggy, you can use for your own logistic use case as well. Like let's suppose if you have to send some item to my home inside a Bangalore only, then you can use the Swiggy. That is also there. These facilities came in Swiggy. So Swiggy understood this problem. Now this, I don't know why this Blinkit and this Jepto, these things is getting understand. That's a means that's what this company is not are not making revenue. Operational cost is very high. You know, one pizza delivery, like see, Domino's also understood. Domino's are not using shared logistic. They have their own logistic. Their guys are coming to your place, to your doorstep. It's not like that. Some logistic, they hire some dedicated logistic partner to deliver the items, right? That's what Domino's are earning the money. But these guys are not able to make the money because one pizza delivery, let's suppose if Zomato is going to deliver one pizza, their operational charge is around 150 rupees. That's what Zomato make the like uh, I don't know like why these guys, why we guys are using the Zomato. I last night I was searching something like some pizza or something, and the pizza cost was around 350 rupees, and they were asking like 560 rupees. I means I can't use these things. Even I have a money, but I can't use this. Like 250 rupees, you are just spending for the operational purpose. Why I can't go to that direct place, and I can make my mood fresh as well, and I can buy the item, fresh item I can buy, right? So these things will not work. They start applying the operational cost on their platform, but I don't know, Bangalore guys is can be used, but apart from the Bangalore, like if you'll go to the Andhra north side, they will not use these facilities. But yeah, people are saying that's fine, but as per my research, I'm understanding this is a completely failure business use case. So people are doing that things. So yeah, so understanding your customer is the bigger thing. If you are on the product based company, your customer, who is your customer? First of all, identify who is your customer. If your customer is this, then you can spend the money. 2000, why 2000, 20,000 also you can spend. Even they are buying 2000 rupees product, that's fine, but next time they will come, right? To identify your customer, that's a bigger thing. But if you'll see the Indian startup, whoever are doing phone pay, they also did this mistake. Flipkart, Blinkit, when the Blinkit launch in India, like in the lockdown, I think Blinkit has been launched. They were they were giving like 500 rupees item, grocery item as a free of cost just by spending 25 rupees. 51 rupees. I spent 51 rupees. I got 2000 rupees groceries at my home. Right. And even I afterwards, if you believe or not, I never used Blinkit for my purpose, for my own purpose, never used. Right. So the CAC invested on me, it's completely waste by the Blinkit. So in India, many people are like this, right? So first of all, you have to identify who is your customer and then invest your CAC. But here we are not, means this Blinkit and this Zomato, these are not understood these things, and they blindly they spend investors money, and now see the result is in front of you. Blinkit has been owned by now Swiggy, I think. Yeah. So the thing is in front of all of us, right? So first of all, under this is the very important use case for customer segmentation. If you can do, then it's very good. Now number two problem is what kind of problem we can solve for data analysis. For data analysis. Okay. So data analysis is nothing but when analyzing the analyzing a new data set. New data set. It is often useful to first discover. By the way, in which company you are working, Trimula? Acha. I thought you were working on Blinkit and I am making. Oh, it's revenue making company? What? Okay, what you said? What is the name? Comscope. Spelling, can you read it? Huh? SCOPE. Comscope. Okay, this one. So what is your job there?
Data integration.
Data. Acha. Acha. Where it is this company? Broadband video device, customer experience, data center fiber. Acha. Sold to. Acha. Okay. So if it is a revenue making company, if it is a product based company, then I'd say you can search your career there as well, right? As a data scientist, there must be some profile. Now I'm so many other broadband and cable. So Comscope has been divided companies, Ruckus and Aris. So Aris is completely home networks division. Okay. Home networks division is is in under revenue, like there is no revenue, no more business has been happening from almost a year. And they means where they used to provide the service across the India, across the world. Oh, nice. But yeah, that's why what happened last week, last week, acquisition has been happened by Bangalore. Okay. Home network, whole home network has been acquired by Bangalore. Sure. But the employees also like they are in dilemma with this. Acha. They need to give employee assets also to them, or only they took 25% share in Vantiva, and deal was like that. 25% of stake has been. Do you have ESOP? Do you have ESOP? Acha. So, oh, last week layoff has been also done. This time layoff is going on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can understand.
Everyone they cannot buy
Hmm.
because they also have their own.
Okay.
The only reason is in North America there is no business for them,
Acha, acha.
so they want to conquer in North America also. So
Mm-hmm.
acquired business and our businesses main businesses in North America.
Okay. Nice. So you are safe. Hope you are safe.
I have it all up this.
Okay. So till December you have time. Start looking for job. Right. So see now in December. So December is the right time to search for something, right? Because everyone is going for holiday, and after coming from the holiday, many people are used to resign the job. Like, see, one thing is that January and I think April, people used to get the hike. If the hike will not acceptable, people will leave the job and people will join the job, right? So both the thing is getting done in the January and April. So you have a golden time, right? 2 or 3 months now onwards. Start preparing and start learning what are the things you learned. Start exploring one project, right? One project end to end. If you can do this, your life is set. No one can reject you in an interview, and interview just explain that project only, right? So yeah, that is, huh. Yeah, please.
And we go whatever industry have to pay,
Mm-hmm.
we need to deploy those to some development application, some
Yes,
application so that that will be accessible to others.
correct,
So
correct.
web development also coming to picture.
Right. See, let me explain that part. Where is our AI ML stands? Okay, where is our AI ML stand? So see, let's suppose I'm working in a Flipkart. I never used to expose in the like while taking the class because this is restricted completely. So because I can't work dual work as well. It's a norms, right? So let's suppose this is the Flipkart. ठीक है. So if Flipkart it is, inside of Flipkart complete there is a many thing is there. If you can see, there is a product thing, there will be a like search thing is there, payment gateway integration is there, back end, front end development, right? React Native is there, lot of thing is there. Where is my job is getting done? So see, there is a multiple thing. Let's suppose search box. I told you right about the search box, right? So inside of search box, we have to next thing is that identify the customer, what type of customer it is. Like there is a multiple things is there. So your job still is there. Like if you are a developer, web developer, still you can work. See, this is the advantage where you can show like you know these data science roles and responsibilities as well, and and you know the web development as well. So you can integrate the web development with your AI ML, and so you can make your robust product. Understood? And one thing is that whatever AI ML application you are building, you are going to build as a backend API, right? So this API you are going to give to the front end, and I obviously you know as well. So in let's suppose I have to integrate this. Let's suppose if someone is coming to this search box, and as soon as this person is coming to the search box or to our application, someone getting know the session, right? From where this person is coming, all the sort of thing, and this information is getting sent to my service, and my service will get to know, okay, this person will buy, a confidence I will give, what what is the confidence this person will buy the product or not, right? So this here you have given this backend API, and front end is just integrating this API with their component, and your job is to check these things. That's all. Understood? So, so you, so obviously this complete application you are not developing. Your data scientist is not going to develop these things. Data scientist job is very niche, right? You are going to solve a very particular problem which you will get from your product team, and you have to expose an API, and that API will get integrated with the application. Yeah. So obviously it will be good if you know these things, as it is often easier to analyze. Let me explain this part. Okay, let's explain this part. Okay, so for data analysis, so let's suppose if you are trying to analyze the data, and if you will try to analyze any type of data, then it will be very hard to analyze the data. But if I'm going to give the data to the specific problem, let's suppose I'm going to identify whether this person will buy the product or not. And if I will give the that particular customer related data, then it will be easy to analyze. But if I'll give you the different countries customer data, then it's very hard to identify, right? So that's what, first of all, cluster that data with some particular cluster and then do the analysis will be easier, right? So number three will be, it's very simple, as a dimensional reduction techniques. Dimension reduction techniques. What is this dimension reduction techniques? Also called PCA. Let's talk about this PCA once. So once the data set has been generated or clustered, right? So see, let's suppose earlier you, before clustering, how many data points you have? Like 10,000, 20,000 data are there. Now, after clustering, you are going to create a 3 or 4 cluster of the similar object. Now you are going to reduce the feature number of feature into 3 or 4. That's what it is called as dimensional reduction techniques. So in dimensional reduction also we can use what this clustering techniques. So fourth thing is for anomaly detection. So what is the anomaly detection? And anomaly detection, a spam or real message. This is also called anomaly detection. So let's suppose if any message is coming, Gmail used to put some message inside of spam or without spam, right? So how they are going to identify? By seeing that that is also kind of unsupervised problem. So for anomaly detection, right? And for search engine, yes. How Google search engine work? Any idea do you have? So how the Google search engine work? Let me explain that. So see, if you will see the Google, you can search anything over the Google, right? So as soon as you are passing some text in the search box, you are passing something, right? So how the Google is going to identify this search item has to send where? Because if let's suppose in universe there is a millions of data, billions of data are there, right? Endless data are there. Where to search this item? It will be very hard and it will be very time consumable process. So what the Google search engine, how the Google say, here the AI service is there. First of all, whatever item you are searching, this AI service, first of all, it will identify what is the category of this search item. Is it something about product? It is something about essential. It is something about scientist. It is something about different things. And if it is about the scientist, then they have a category, scientist category. They have a category of product. They have a category of essential commodities. And then as soon as this service will identify what is this product is about, then it will go inside of that, and here the search engine will work, searching algorithm will work, and it will identify all that. But let's suppose what will happen if you will not apply these things here. So this complete data will be clumped together, and your searching will go in completely all the different sets, different cluster, and it will search the item and it will get it. This will be very time consuming process. But is it happening in the Google like this? No, it is not happening like this inside of Google. Google may whatever things you are searching, you are getting very instantly answer because of these clusters. They have categorized the data in form of the cluster, and this input is belonging under which cluster, that is getting identify your AI service, right? So building the search engine also we can use these things. Next is image segmentation. It's very popular thing. Let me talk about this. In an autonomous car we are using this kind of thing. Let me write this. Image segmentation. Sixth point is image segmentation. Image segmentation. What do you mean by the image segmentation? Let's talk about this. So can you see this image? This is called image segmentation. So segment, we are going to create object detection is the one. See, I'll talk about this part later on, but just try to understand segmentation. So see, this is the human being. Both boys and girl, both are human, right? And if it is a human, then we are going to segment is in form of red color. If it is a vehicle, then we are going to segment in the yellow color. Like this we are trying to do. This is called image segmentation. Okay. So in image segmentation also we can use this kind of clustering techniques. So yeah, these are the different kind of what I can say application where we can use this image segmentation. Ah. Approach of clustering. Approaches of clustering. The clustering approach. So you have to go office daily, is it? Work from home or work from office? It's hybrid. Nice. I think now 15 till 15 big billion days are there, right? Tomorrow will get finished. The clustering approaches can be broadly divided into two categories. Number one, agglomerative category. I will talk about this. Agglomerative. What is this agglomerative? This approach first consider all the points as individual clusters and then finds out the similar and then finds out the similar okay similarity between the 2 points. I'll talk about these things first. Let me write that. Puts them into cluster. Then it goes on finding similar points similar points to other each other similar point. Then it goes on finding similar points and cluster until there is only one cluster left. Okay, that is all points belongs to a big cluster. This is also called as bottom-up approach. Okay, let me talk about this. So agglomerative clustering is what? This approach is first consider all the point as an individual cluster. Means let's suppose we have let's suppose in case of agglomerative. So inside of agglomerative, we have a different data points. Just for example, these are the different data points. So what agglomerative clustering techniques is saying, so at the very initial stage, each point consider a single cluster. Okay. Each point considered as a single cluster means all the, let's suppose 10,000 data points are there. All the 10,000 points will belongs to 10,000 cluster. Now, what we can do, we can find the similarity between these two clusters. If this similarity between this cluster is very high, then we are going to merge this cluster. Similarly, with this, if this is also good, then we are going to merge this. Likewise, we will go until unless all the data point will get merged into the single cluster. This upload, this is called bot. Earlier, what we were doing, we were getting data and we were creating the different clusters. So in this agglomerative cases, what we are trying to do, at the very initial stage, we are understanding all the data points are belong to the separate clusters, different cluster. And then we are going to merge the small cluster in the single cluster. That's what it is called as bottom up approach. This is called agglomerative clustering techniques. Any question in the agglomerative clustering? Now we'll talk about the
We get only
one cluster until unless we'll not get the one cluster.
sorry. Suppose if similarities are not very high in between two.
Mhm.
then what will happen?
So in that case, the similarity coefficient will get low, but we will merge these things into the single cluster.
So all the data points should be merged into one cluster.
So that point only we have written here, right? So you can see until there will be only one cluster left. So that is all point belong to a big cluster. This is also called bottom up approach. Earlier, what we were thinking, all the points are belongs to the one cluster, and then we were creating separate cluster. But this is called top to bottom approach. But here we are going with the bottom up approach, means bottom to top. Like at the very beginning, we are understanding all the data point has been segregated in a simple single cluster, and then on top of it we are going to apply these things. Okay. Now another clustering techniques is what? Divisive clustering. Divisive, it is similar, it is opposite, it is just opposite to the of the agglomerative clustering approach. Okay. It first consider all the point to be a part of, means I'm not writing everything, I'm just telling you at the very first stage what we are thinking, all the data point belong to the single cluster, big cluster, and then whatever this similar thing is there, we are going to, with that we are going to create a separate cluster, right? This is called divisive clustering, and this approach is called what? Top to down approach. Okay. Any question in this? No question. Okay. Now let's talk about mistake is there here. Okay. So now another approach means another means type of clustering. We are going with the type of clustering. So this is called agglomerative and divisive. This is the way of making the cluster, but there is a type of clustering techniques is there. Number one is called k-mean clustering. So k-mean clustering. So let's understand this k-mean clustering. So k-mean clustering is, I'm not going inside of history, but it is developed by the Bell Labs. Okay, so k-mean clustering is an approach in which data is grouped into the k distinct non-overlap cluster. Means what we are trying to do, just try to understand. So we have a data point. We have a data point. We have a data point. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to create a cluster, K cluster, okay, and with which means k-mean clustering approach in which the data is grouped into the K cluster, number 1, number 2, number 3. This is called K. K is the number. K distinct non-overlapping. Here the overlapping is getting done. Avoid this. It's like human error. And means like non-overlapping clusters based on their distance from the K center. Means, so let's suppose this is the data point. I will talk about the, wait a minute. I'll show you in the Python implementation as well. So what we are trying to do, we are going to create a centroid. First of all, how the centroid will get created, that I will show you. Wait a minute. So we are going to create a centroid, and we will calculate the distance of all the data points from here to there as well. Okay, because we don't know which point is near to this. So we'll calculate it. It's like, okay, KNN algorithm, right? It's similar to the KNN. So here, similarly, from here to here, here to here, here to here, we are going to calculate distance. If whatever points are falling near to this centroid, we are going to mark it as a one cluster. Similarly, with this respect to this centroid, we are going to create a one cluster. Similarly, with respect to this, we are going to create a cluster. So likewise, we are going ahead and then we are going to create a clusters. This concept is called as k-mean clustering. Okay, now so let's talk about how the k-mean clustering works. Oh. So let's talk about the theoretical concept as well. So today we'll finish the theoretical concept. Tomorrow we'll start the practical implementation. Theory. So the theory discussed above can be mathematically expressed. Now what we are trying to do, we are going to express these things in a mathematically. So let me show you that part. Okay. Okay, this theoretical seems like we have to introduce some images. So what I can do, hold on. I will upload this thing, compress as a zip file. Let me create a zip file, and I am uploading this file inside of your drive, so that please download from there. Date 29, is it yours? Yes, date 29. Folder, and please download this. Okay, download this, and here will be one Jupyter notebook which I am going to show you. So what are things we have told, everything is written here, so no need to worry, all the things is there. And theoretical concept I'm going to derive about the k-mean cluster. So we have a C1, C2, Ck be the K cluster. Okay, then we can write C1 union C2 union, right, union C3 union C4 and dot 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 union Ck is
covering each data point, right? Each data point has been assigned some particular cluster, no doubt. And it will never be possible one data point will belong to the two or more cluster. That is not going to be happen in practical, right? So this, just a minute. Okay. So also C intersection.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
You told one data point will be belongs to only one cluster.
Correct.
Which will not be common to both.
Yes.
But what if let's suppose we have two clusters and we have centroid and one point which is equal distance to both of centroids.
Both the centroid. Okay, that's a very good question. So in that case, the distance will be one measurement, and the second thing, we are going to check the different other properties, right? So that part will come into the picture. Right now we are going to check with the distance. So if distance is going to be considered, then one cluster will get occupied this point and another cluster will not see that. If it got occupied with the one cluster, the another cluster will not check that data point. Okay, so here is clearly mentioned. You can see CK intersection C dash is always equal to null. This is called null set, right? So it will never be, means there will be no intersection. The idea behind the k-mean clustering approach is that the within cluster variation amongst the points should be minimum, means inside of cluster the variations between the data point should be minimum, but between the cluster it should be very high, and the within the cluster variance denoted by the WCK. Hence, according to the statement above, we need to minimize the variance, right? So if we have to minimize this variance, means it should be 0, right? So but outside of the cluster, the variations between it should be high, very high, right? And this is the quite similar. And what we are going to do, so randomly we are assigning the k center. So how the k mean cluster we going to work? So randomly we are going to assign the k cluster, calculate the distance of all the point from the k center. Let's suppose we have a what we are trying to say, let's suppose we have this data point. Okay, so now just try to understand, we are going to assign randomly k cluster. In this case, I'm going to assign 2 or 3 cluster. Okay, 3 cluster we are going. Next is what? Calculate the distance of all the point from the all the k center and allocate the point to the cluster based on the shortest distance. And the model inertia is the mean square distance between the distance, and it is the closest centroid. And the goal is to have the model within the lowest strength inertia. So what we are trying to do with this centroid, we are going to calculate the distance of each point. Each point. Similarly, with this, with respect to this centroid also, we are going to calculate the distance. Similarly, with respect to this point also, we are going to calculate the distance of all the point, not only the near to these things, and that's all. Then what we are trying to do, what are the shortest distance is falling under this point, we are going to mark it as a one cluster. Similarly with this and with this. So here, so these are the 2 points. Now, once all the point has been assigned to the cluster, recompute the centroid. Now what we are trying to do, so recompute the centroid in the sense of repeat the step 2 and 3 until the location of the centroid stop changing. Means what we are trying to do, now we are going to relocate the centroid. This is the centroid, right? Now we'll another iteration may we are going to relocate this center at some position here, this to there, this to there, and then we are again going to calculate the distance. And this continuous variation will go until unless if we are changing these things, then also the center distance between these things is going to be static till the time we have to rotate these things. Again, you are not going to do these things. This is getting done by the algorithm, and I am talking about the algorithm, how the algorithm is getting worked there, right? So yeah, this is the thing, how the k-mean cluster getting work. I will show you the practical implementation. It is already given, but I will show you tomorrow about this practical implementation. Then we will start how to evaluate unsupervised machine learning, because that is the important concept. And frankly, I'm speaking, in one interview, someone has asked me this question and I couldn't answer this. This question I remembered still. So what is the evaluation criteria of unsupervised ML? Because you don't have the label. That's the first thing. You don't have the ground truth with which you can evaluate your model. And I have written that point in these slides somewhere. If you can see, I added these things. Evaluation. Where it went? See. So evaluation, there is a different evaluation metric. I have like Rand index, Jaccard coefficient, right? These are the different things is there. So we can use these things and we can calculate the evaluation. So we'll see these things tomorrow. There are many things to be discussed inside of unsupervised listening. And then we will start the deep learning concept. Deep learning concept. See, deep learning concept, I'll not go in depth. It will be like very overview idea about the deep learning. But if you will be interested, then I will move you in some separate what I can say batch where you can start learning completely deep learning in depth. But in this thing, it's a part of MLD, machine learning with deployment. Deep learning, we just used to give the overview. So we'll talk about that part. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool then. Thank you. We'll catch up tomorrow at the same time.